Hello, Resurrection. It's September the 18th, and I am excited to get back to Wednesday night programming tonight. We will begin at 6 o'clock with family supper, and then we'll break into our groups after that, our normal groups. And we're picking up in the adult Bible study where we left off in the spring, which is with our Essential 100. We had just crossed the Red Sea, and we're about to enter into the desert, and that's where we will pick up with the Hebrew children. And I'm looking forward to getting back to that. So hopefully I will see you tonight. Now, our Sunday mornings, I think, are going fairly well. We've got a fairly good little group going on in the adult Sunday school this morning, where we're walking through the virtues and the vices. We've spent 2 weeks kind of getting ready to talk about individual virtues and vices, and this Sunday we are starting with our first one, and we are talking like right off the bat. We're talking about sex, and I probably have your attention now. So sexual ethics is something that I don't have any qualms talking about. It's something we've always been comfortable talking to our kids about at home. And I don't know how comfortable they are about me talking to you about us talking about it at home, but that there it is. I'm probably in trouble now. Uh, but talking about sexual ethics is something that the church has always done, and I don't see why in the world we'd be squeamish about talking about it now. I will tell you that this is one of the reasons that I've been adamant about separating out Sunday school this year for our high school kids and for our middle school kids. We've got the middle schoolers doing something different from the high schoolers this year because it's important for us to be able to spend some time with our high school kids talking about things that maybe the middle schoolers are not ready to talk about yet, or maybe they're not ready to talk about it in the same way that the high school kids are ready to talk about it. So, this Sunday, when the high school class comes in to join the adult class, we will begin talking about healthy Christian sexual ethics, and I'm kind of looking forward to doing that. It's an important thing that we do, and it's an important thing that we do with our kids as well as with adults. And don't think for a second that adults don't still wrestle with it just as strongly as kids do today, maybe even more so. But we'll be in there talking about it together. I give you that heads up in case you are the parent of a high school of someone in the high school class, and you don't normally come to the adult class. It may be a time you want to do it. Now, if the idea of being in the room at the same time with your high schooler talking about sex makes you squeamish, then you probably ought to come because it's not that big a deal. I'll show you that it's not that big a deal. We will be talking um, about uh, about biblical sexual ethics. We'll be talking about what Jesus said about sex and the appropriate ways to have sex and the appropriate ways not to have sex. Or maybe the appropriate circumstances under which. And we'll be talking about what C.S. Lewis said about it. And if you've not read the chapters in Mere Christianity, especially, where C.S. Lewis talks about sexual ethics, they are hilarious. They're a scream. There's a really funny anecdote that he tells about how society does not get together to get a glimpse at a mutton chop under a covered platter, but we will get together to go into an auditorium to look at someone take their clothes off, and how odd that is when you think about it. We're going to talk a lot more about that, of course, and I'll tell you exactly what and why he talks about that. But it's important for us in the church to talk about. I think when we get squeamish about talking about ethics in our society, sexual ethics, business ethics, marital ethics, every other kind of ethics. I think when we get squeamish about talking about those, it's when we lose our compass. And I think that it's safe to say that the world has lost its compass when it comes to sexuality. So we are going to be talking about all of that. Come on. I bet you'll laugh. I bet you might feel squeamish. You might not. I don't think I will. So you may not. But that's this coming Sunday. So you know what? uh, it's probably time that that we all get together and start talking about some things that might be uncomfortable at first, because I think as we talked about last week, when we talked about the optional portions in our lectionary, when certain scriptures come up in our lectionary, there are parts of those scriptures that are optional. Some of them are optional, to be read in church that Sunday. Some of those are optional because the readings get really, really long, but some of them are optional because we're uncomfortable talking about them. And I think that is completely inappropriate. So we're going to maybe that'll be the next Sunday school unit that we do is making the optional parts no longer optional. Maybe we'll start taking some of those optional parts of the lectionary and talking about them specifically. Maybe not. I'll give it some thought. Anyway, sexual ethics is not optional for us to talk about in the church, and so we'll be talking about it on Sunday. I hope to see you all then, and especially I hope to see you again tonight with our Wednesday night kickoff. I love you. See you soon.